it all comes back to slow down. We spend so much time trying to get somewhere. We have such a hard time being somewhere because right now we are somewhere, and that's the place we're meant to be.
Hello, I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with Jody Urquhart. Jody is a fellow motivational keynote speaker and the author of BLISS Out. Welcome to your Take the Doughnut interview, Jody.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm a fan of your show, and I really appreciate you having me on it.
Thank you so much for being here. And, before we get into any more serious questions, I have to ask, what's your favorite donut?
Let's see. I have so many. I mean, donuts are a good part of my life. I guess I'd love a donut that was like gluten-free, low fat, low sugar. Take all the good without the bad. My favorite is probably just your plain donut with like the glaze on it, the honey kind of a glaze. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, I said just a tiny bit about who you are up front, but tell us more about yourself. What do you want us to know?
Well, I'm a motivational speaker. I've done that for 25 years. Before the pandemic, I used to speak at 120 events live a year. Now it's more like 4 or 5 a month, in a good month. A lot more virtual events. And my messaging evolves around creating joy and meaning in your work and in your life. There's a fundamental misunderstanding about joy in life or in work, and that's that you think that you get joy out of a job or out of your life, but actually you are the joy of your life and the joy of your job. So I like to share that message. It's always very empowering. It goes straight to the person. It's never about, can I change my job or my relationship? Or it's always about, how can you change yourself? Because that's where the greatest change comes from. My background is stand-up comedy because I learned all of this by failing, and comedy is the greatest way to fail. I started doing, in the beginning, I was talking about the joy of the job. But people were on the evaluations, they were saying, well, she doesn't look like she's enjoying her job very much. And because I was doubtful and fearful, and so it was really a self-development, personal development journey. And I learned it through stand-up comedy. And the best way to learn to fail is to do it often and to do it really hard. And you do in comedy, picture a bunch of people looking at you and expecting you to entertain them for quite a while. And so I learned a lot from it. So now what that looks like is I do live and virtual events, and I use stand-up comedy to teach self-awareness. So helping people deal with challenges like self-doubt, worry, fear. These are all things that aren't actually real. They're like storylines we tell ourselves. They're not actually accurate to the environment we're in. So I use comedy to help people laugh at themselves, because it makes the message a lot more impactful and easier for them to relate to.
That is so wonderful. And I actually have an improv background. So to me, I think I would say improv for me has been the most useful skill and the most used skill as a speaker. And I completely see how giving a talk is a stand-up routine all by itself. So, I mean, the idea of doing stand-up in comedy is scarier to me, but I think than improv, but giving presentations is stand-up. So it's something I guess I've gotten comfortable with over time. But what a great background that you have, and smart way that you've parlayed it into your professional career.
Wow, that's so interesting. I've heard people who do improv, because I think improv is an incredible talent. It's not one that I've been able to delve into a lot. not a natural skill for me. For me, knowing the lines makes it a lot easier. So that could be like a fear thing, but I generally, like when it comes to comedy, it's very well written, set up, punchline. There's a true difference between, say, a funny story and a line of comedy. A setup and a punchline means it's going to be a train wreck in your mind, meaning you're going to have, you're going to see the connection between the preamble and the punchline. It'll be unexpected. So it has to be really well written. And that way I always know I'm going to get a laugh out of it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas improv is such a powerful skill because you have to really listen to people, and you also have to say yes to everything that comes your way and respond to it without blocking it.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I mean, I think like as a speaker, it's a bit of a hybrid because, you're on stage, you obviously have a plan. You have, you have to some degree, you have something that you've scripted for yourself, but I'm less word perfect than you are and more listening for at what point does somebody react in some way? And now I'm going to start a conversation through that. So I think you find sort of a middle ground with it. And but I'm just blown away by your background. I mean, we could talk about this forever, but so this is a Take the Doughnut interview. And for me, what that means is carpe diem. Take the doughnut is an expression for me that means carpe diem. It comes from a story of something that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on a table, and it became a symbol for me, an object lesson in what it looks like to leave opportunity on the table. I don't want to do that anymore. So I say, take the donut, go for it. This conversation is all about what does it look like when we go after opportunity, when we go after goals, practically speaking, what does that mean for us as people? So I want to start with this question. How are you with going after goals? What does that process look like for you in your life?
Going after goals, well, I'd set a goal and then I do my best to get there. Usually smaller goals, short term, little steps, small steps along the way work the best. To me, goals can be very frustrating for people because it's like you're working for something you don't believe you already are. And the best way to be in business or in life is to be the best version of yourself. So kind of challenging to do when you're always looking at a better version of you. Like where I'm at is never quite enough. That messaging for me has come down to mindfulness and being present in the moment that you're in. So even though you're reaching a goal in the future, you're doing your most present work here and now. And it's because you don't know the actual destination. It will change. I mean, every goal I've ever gone after, it was never the actual goal. I ended up having to go here, to go here, to go here. If I were to accomplish that goal, the journey would be very different from the way I mapped it out in the beginning, unless it's just a very short term, easy goal. So the goal can often be frustrated unless you keep it pretty short term. Every step by step by step, you're getting your way towards the goal. And then you're pivoting along the way to change, to see there's a map and then there's the territory, and the map is the goal. The territory is actual real life. And to really be successful, you have to yield to reality. So whatever that is, moment to moment, doesn't really matter what you wanted. I mean, everybody wants success. Everybody wants to achieve a goal, but no goal will ever be enough. Once you get one goal, you'll need another one. Once you get a little bit of success, you're always going to want more success. So the goal itself is less of the mindset as it is being focused on what you're doing while you're doing it towards that goal.
That was beautifully, poetically said, in fact. I mean, the map and the territory metaphor, I really like the visual of that. So knowing that pivots often happen and, sometimes there's a general shape that you're moving towards, how do you stay motivated in that process?
Moment to moment. So if in the moment, like today, for instance, I was getting frustrated because I have all these videos I have to produce for clients. And my very expensive light fell on the ground and broke. So I mean, that's a moment that could put me behind for a good day or so. But that's the moment. That's reality. Like, I want to get all those videos pumped out. And I want them to be great. And of course, I mean, everybody wants that. We all want things to work out our way, but they don't. The reason why is I feel like we need to slow down and be present with what happens while it happens. And that's what every time, every moment, it all comes back to: slow down. We spend so much time trying to get somewhere. We have such a hard time being somewhere, because right now we are somewhere, and that's the place we're meant to be. Doesn't mean you're not going to go somewhere else and have more and be more, but right now this is where we're at, and acceptance of that reality is, to me, what real success is. So it doesn't matter what the goal is you achieve, but it's how you are as you're achieving it.
Well said. So as you're going through this process, challenges come up. Today your light broke or fell. Challenges come up, but is there a specific brand of challenge that you notice keeps coming up for you, no matter what the goal is? Something that just keeps rearing its ugly head?
I get frustrated, but what I know about frustration is it's frustration with myself. Frustration is an internal thing, not an external thing. So I would get frustrated with things like, a certain thing I'm working on isn't as successful as it's supposed to be. Now, especially that's challenging if there's other people involved, right? Like clients or something. We're not where we should be. And so then I have to coach myself so that I can coach other people that we are where we are, that we have to appreciate where we've come from, because I have actually had success. It's just that when you started, you didn't know you'd have to go through all these trials and tribulations to figure all this stuff out before you could get over here. And then when you got over here, you realize that wasn't where you meant to go. So then you have to go over here. And so it for me is a continual over and over. I'll have a project, something will go wrong. And if I feel frustrated, that's my absolute knowledge. Slow down. You're missing something. And if you miss that thing, you're going to take the wrong path anyways. So why bother? Why put on pressure on everyone else when it's something that's a pressure inside me? So that's a message I share with leaders a lot, is pressure is not inherent in anything. It's not. Like, things don't show up as pressure. We add the pressure only because we put ups and downs on things. It's good if it goes like this. It's bad if it goes like this. And now I'm adding pressure. So I would look at everything I do and go, where am I adding pressure to this? Like, where is it not inherently there, but I'm adding it to the thing? And then I'd have to backtrack and just slow down and look at what's going on and see if it's really the path I'm supposed to take.
Well said. So, if the joy comes from within you, so does the frustration, so does the pressure.
Yeah. It's like the frustration is keeping you from the joy.
Mm-hmm. It's blocking us in a comedic way from getting to the joy.
There's got to be a lot of comedy there, right?
Absolutely. Well, what would you say is the biggest donut you've ever taken? And you can take that anywhere, personal, professional, whatever comes to mind for you.
Well, I guess I would say when I went into stand-up comedy in the very beginning, it was scary for me. And so, yeah, I went through that, and you end up writing comedy, and it sounds great to you, super funny in my living room with my stuffed animals. But then when I get up there and the lights are on me and people are watching and it doesn't seem to go over, that was very challenging for me. And then to take that into giving speeches and add it to what I was already doing, because I was a speaker first, comedian second.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's the biggest. Is there something in progress right now? Is there a donut you're trying to take?
I just keep going, doing what I'm doing. I don't really have any new, very specific donuts. I mean, I'm very busy, so I just stick to what I'm busy and what I'm doing, and just listen really closely to what people say, if they like it or they dislike it, and then I use that kind of information. I don't take it personally anymore. I just use it to help me evolve, grow, try something new. That worked, that didn't work.
Yeah, it sounds like a constant journey for you.
Yeah, I did write a book 2 years ago. It's called Bliss Out. 2022. Yeah. So, and it is about the stuff that I'm talking about. So I wouldn't say I promote it a lot, but I do sell a fair number of copies. When I speak, I sell them at the back of the room. So that would be like a specific goal, is I often decide, you know what, let's sell more of those books because they're available. So why not? And so I'll do more videos about it.
Absolutely. Well, given that you wrote those books for people in the world and there are people listening to this, let's sprinkle some encouragement. I'm sure there are people who are listening who have a donut they want to take, maybe something that's in mind. Perhaps they've started towards it, or maybe they're still thinking about it, but they don't know what to do next. So what advice would you give to people who have a direction they want to go in? They're just not sure where to start.
Yeah, the first step is the most important. It's the one that takes the most courage, but it's your most important step. You have to take it. Once you take that step, again, it's more mindset than anything else. It's you thinking it's not going to work out for you, or that people won't like it, or and so take that step, and you realize it's not quite as hard as you thought. But you also have to know that the only way you can fail is if you give up. And you will give up. Most people will give up. I mean, most businesses fail in the first 5 years. So just keep on keeping on, keep on going. And the contest lasts for moments, but you train for a long time before you get there. And this life is that training.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wonderfully said. And hopefully that gets people moving forward. Where can they find you if any of us want to find more information about what you're up to or your book or anything you want to share? I can add links to the description. What would you like me to add?
I'd love for people to follow me on Instagram or YouTube. I do YouTube shorts and Instagram. They're basically the same video, but I'll post 1 or 2 a day. And I do that, I think 7 days a week is usually the schedule. So you could follow me on those platforms. I'm also on LinkedIn. My website's idoinspire.com. My favorite saying is be the change you want to see. And that if you want to inspire anyone else, then you have to be inspired. So most people look for inspiration externally through validation from other people or from external sources like sales or something. But your best position is to be that inspiration. And then it doesn't matter if you have a sale or you don't have a sale. I mean, obviously it helps pay the bills, but what really matters is your own inspiration can get you through pretty much anything.
Thank you for that. Well, everybody, be sure to check out those resources. Be sure to find Jody and check out those videos. And if you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe because there's plenty more inspirational interviews still to come this year and beyond. And in the meantime, thank you so much, Jody, for taking time today to talk to me, to talk to all of us, to share your very wise thoughts about goals, opportunity, and maybe being happy where you are right now. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you. It's great. And I am a follower, so I look forward to seeing other interviews.
Oh, wonderful. Well, okay, everybody, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye.
Bye.